The lights are shining bright on the Toronto Raptors because we have a ton of rumors that came out surrounding the Toronto Raptors, including one that is linking the Raptors to a potential player that is in the Western Conference who has been on the trade block for quite some time. So I'm going to be breaking all of those rumors for you in today's video. If you're ready to watch, make sure to hit the subscribe button. And with that being said, let's get into today's video. But first and most importantly, as you guys know, it's a tradition on the channel to give out shout outs to the person who answers the trivia question correctly. And the shout out for today's video goes out to Tom Duke. So, Tom, thank you so much for supporting this channel through your likes and comments. It is very much appreciated. Now, let's talk about some of the rumors, starting with Chris Boucher. NBA Central was reporting that the Nuggets, Clippers, Knicks are teams with an interest in Chris Boucher, according to Mike Escato. The Nuggets, along with the Los Angeles Clippers, New York Knicks, and other teams have also expressed trade interest in Boucher. League sources tell Hoop Hypes the 32-year-old forward is in the final year of his contract worth $10.8 million and has averaged 10.7 points and only 17.5 minutes while shooting 37% from the three-point range. Now, a lot of teams being interested in Chris Boucher is no surprise. Denver Nuggets and the Clippers team are teams we have talked about previously in terms of what the Raptors could get. I think it's quite straightforward with those two teams in particular. But we see a team that is now being linked to Boucher, who hasn't been linked a lot in terms of legitimate rumors, and that is the New York Knicks. So what could the Raptors want from a team like the New York Knicks? Well, of course, with salaries anytime in the new CBA, whenever you're making trades, salaries are almost just as important as who you're trading for. So in terms of taking a look at the Knicks roster here and who they would be able to trade in terms of $10.8 million for Chris Boucher here, it becomes very interesting because you got someone that comes to mind right away is Mitchell Robinson, an injury-prone center who hasn't really fit in with the Knicks for quite some time. He's voiced his frustration often, and if I'm the Toronto Raptors, that is not a bad contract to take on by any means, considering the Raptors need centers in their developmental system. I mean, I know he's not really at that age where you're going to be developing him, but he's still young enough to fit the timeline. And sure, there's been injury issues with him throughout his entire career, but when healthy, he is a decent center, and the Raptors could always use that, considering that Jakob Poeltl might not be in the Raptors' future for too long. So that's at least you have a fallback plan on someone like Mitchell Robinson. Another player would be hilarious to see the Raptors try to acquire could be Precious Achiuwa and Miles McBride. Again, those two together can be enough in terms of money. The only funny thing would this contract, obviously, or this specific trade would be the Raptors obviously had Precious Achiuwa previously, and they traded him to New York, and then they would get him back. But I don't see this happening for one simple reason, and that is because the New York Knicks view Miles McBride as very highly. And that is a young point guard they obviously wanted to re-sign and give a lot of minutes to. Does he become a little bit more expendable though? That's the question. With Tyler Kolek being there again, a lot of Knicks fans would have to tell me in the comment section as to how highly they view Tyler Kolek. Do they view him highly enough to give most of his minutes to a player like Miles McBride and then trade Miles McBride to a team like the Toronto Raptors? I mean, that could be an interesting trade for both teams, but keeping in mind the Raptors do have Jamal Shed, who they really like, and yes, he's a second-round draft pick, but Miles McBride, again, it kind of overlaps. I don't want to say skills wise, but whenever you're a team like the Raptors, essentially retooling or rebuilding, it becomes really challenging because you do not want to just acquire another young player who's a little bit older. But again, it doesn't in terms of if it was a point guard, if you're acquiring an all-star point guard, then absolutely you can justify saying, hey, sorry, Jamal. We're gonna have a different backup point guard, whether that's Davion or whatever the case is. But if you're acquiring someone with in terms of ceiling, with respect to both guys, it's not like you're getting a huge talent gap there. So for a team like the Raptors, I don't know if that deal makes sense. I mean, the New York Knicks could throw it in a couple second round picks as well. But again, we'll see what happens in terms of Chris Boucher. It seems like a lot of teams are interested in him. Who will actually trade for him, and then what assets will there be? That's the most important thing I think in terms of Raptors actually getting some sort of assets back. And I'm not just talking about a late second round pick because I'm going to be honest, that's essentially useless, guys. It's very useless at that point. The Raptors may as well just keep Chris Boucher, let him walk for nothing, and then just free up that cap space. But in terms of some of the other players, we got a really surprising player who has not been on the trade rumor mill from the Toronto Raptors. And this was Evan Sidri reporting Ochai Agbaji is generating trade interest from contending teams ahead of the trade deadline. Agbaji is averaging 10.4 points while shooting a career high 40.3% from on the threes for the Toronto Raptors. The 24-year-old wing is under contract throughout 2025-2026, making $4.3 million dollars a season. Soon to be 25-year-old. Now, if I'm the Toronto Raptors, I am absolutely gauging the trade market to see what you could fetch for someone like Ochai. Now, why do I say this? Do I dislike Ochai? Absolutely not. But when you talk about the position he plays, he's 6'4, 6'5. He plays a shooting guard position. He definitely can play other positions, and the Raptors have played him there at the small forward position. The only thing is, and I don't mean this as a disrespect to Ochai, guys, he's having a wonderful season, so I'm happy for him that he's having a bounce back season. He seemed like he was just a young player that a lot of teams tossed around, wasn't working out. And even last year, it wasn't so great with the Toronto Raptors. But in terms of his season this season, when you talk about Ochai, one of the main things a lot of fans talk about with him is his defense. And he's not exactly an excellent defender. I'm going to be honest. He has that reputation amongst Raptors fans because our team is so bad defensively. Yes, we've had a recent stretch of playing good defensive basketball, but he's not exactly someone that should be, one of the top two or three defenders on your team. With respect to Ochai, and I say this because when you look at the defensive box plus minus throughout his career, including this season, he has never been a positive in the defensive box plus minus. Now I know a lot of that is team effort as well, but that's kind of surprising to see. But also, it's again when you talk about his 3 point percentage, as is listed, he's shooting 40% from the threes. It's not like he's shooting six threes, seven, eight threes. He's shooting limited threes, which look, he's shooting a good percentage from threes. I'm happy just with that alone. But it'd be different. It'd be different if he was chucking up a lot of threes and then shooting a high percentage. But he is shooting limited threes as well. So it's with Ochai, it's not as if he's a player that excels in one specific area. If he was a lockdown defender, you could make the case of the Raptors should keep him. He's on an affordable contract, but sometimes the Raptors need to do what's right and is jump on the trade market early and do not overestimate your players. And when the market is there, go for the trade. Now, again, that being said, if you're being offered two second round picks, I'm not taking that. I am not taking that. If a team maybe wants to throw a top 20, top 25 protected first round pick, I'm okay with that. I'd take that in a heartbeat. And again, due to the fact that he's not making a ton of money, a lot of teams will definitely view him as a player that should be very tradable, and there'll definitely be a lot of inquiries about the Raptors. The big case here, excuse me, I want to say is Masai does have a relationship with Ochai's father as well. So you have to put your personal relationships aside and do what's best for business. And hopefully Masai can do that. He's done that in the past as well with DeMar DeRozan, we know as well. So we'll see what happens. Very interesting we get that. But now this is where we talk about the juicy stuff, and this is about the Toronto Raptors being linked to Brandon Ingram. Now, it's being reported by NBA Central that the Raptors are a team to watch for Brandon Ingram. According to the Steinline, Mark Stein, I'm told Toronto has emerged as a team to watch when it comes to Ingram. It remains to be seen whether the Raptors become more than where Ingram is concerned, but the mere suggestion of potential Raptors interest is the most significant development in weeks when it comes to the New Orleans forward who earned his lone All-Star berth during the 2020 season, interrupted by the coronavirus pandemic. The one thing I will say about this, it definitely took me by surprise. I do actually like Brandon Ingram. I do like him. Do I think the Raptors should trade for him? Absolutely not. Now, here's my reasoning as to why they should not. Look, he's the player that I'll give you every season. He's been very consistent with his scoring and 20 points a game, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. He'll give you that a lot. He's a good 3 point shooter. He'll always average in the late 30s. He'll shoot 37, 38, 39% from the field or from the 3 point line at least. And he's a 6'8, 6'9, small forward, power forward. But why would you not want to trade for that? You ask some one simple reason only. He's an expiring contract. You're going to have to pay him a ton of money, and that's what he wants. And considering that just a season ago, you didn't want to pay someone that wanted to stay here in Pascal Siakam, and now you're going to get someone with a similar skill set, a few years younger, mind you, but still a similar skill set, and you're going to pay him. It doesn't make a ton of sense. Now, I know I will say this on the record. Brandon Ingram is a better shooter than Pascal. Forget the numbers, forget the percentages for a moment. But there are a lot of things that Pascal did a lot better than Brandon Ingram. He's a better passer, he's a better rebounder, better defender as well. So again, in terms of the Raptors actually wanting to trade for him, this could be two different reasons why I'm hearing this report. Number one reason is they're trying to gauge the market to entice teams to give up more for someone like Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown would undoubtedly have to be included in this deal. Brandon Ingram makes a ton of money, so Bruce Brown's contract is going to have to be included. So they're throwing this out there because they're probably not getting what they want for Bruce Brown, and they're going to say, "Hey, if you're not giving me what I want for Bruce Brown, I'll just trade him and I'll trade him for Brandon Ingram." Another reason I think this could be the case is perhaps the Toronto Raptors do not. This might be a bold take, and a lot of people may not like this, is they do not want to invest long-term money in RJ Barrett. Do they want to pay RJ Barrett, money by the time his contract comes up, and it'll probably be in the $40 million range? Maybe not. Maybe the Raptors look to trade someone like RJ Barrett. That could be a possibility as well. And they could reunite, Zion Williamson. The Pelicans have motivation to do this. They want to keep Zion Williamson happy. And maybe they bring in his former college teammate. And in terms of the Raptors, their logic behind why they'd want to pay Brandon Ingram is because his consistency. He's always consistently been a really good scorer. He can do a little bit of other stuff as well, and maybe they view him offensively. Anyways, he's definitely a lot better than RJ Barrett, which is why they might just think, hey, we're gonna have to throw money. Why not just throw it at Brandon Ingram and then trade RJ Barrett? So again, that's my only logical reason as to why the Raptors. Two reasons why they want to do this. Other than that, it doesn't make a ton of sense. It doesn't make a ton of sense. Even when we talk about RJ Barrett, one thing RJ has consistently said is, look, Scotty's number one, and he can do it all, and he has really good charisma and positivity about team chemistry and just acknowledging who the players are and their roles are. And sometimes you don't always get that. If the Raptors were to acquire Brandon Ingram, you could argue, he's a better scorer than Scotty Barnes. Is he going to be comfortable being the number two option? Like Brandon Ingram's got. Yes, he's got some really valuable assets to his game, which, the Raptors need, like half court offense. He'd be great at that. But I just don't think it makes a lot of sense for the Toronto Raptors, if you ask me. But I'm very curious to hear what your thoughts are because it seems like majority of Raptors fans do not want Brandon Ingram on the Toronto Raptors. And just considering Pelicans team would probably want more assets as well. Even if we were to trade RJ Barrett, probably a first round pick, at least a couple of draft capital. I just don't think the Raptors are in a position to make these crazy moves right now. You want to tank, you want to, secure that first round pick, hopefully ends up being a top five, and then you can think about other moves that need to be made. But what are your thoughts on this? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And I do have a few more rumors to break down for you, so just hang on tight. The video's not over just yet. And this was Mark Stein yet once again suggesting that I feel pretty confident forecasting that the Raptors will make at least one move. Now, I mean, this should be a no-brainer. You got Bruce Brown who's expiring, Chris Boucher who's expiring. You got Kelly Olynyk who's been in the trade rumor for a few months now. A lot of teams are interested. Jakob Poeltl could potentially be moved for the right price as well. So definitely would not surprise me. And there's a lot of trade rumors about the Raptors, wanting to move off of Bruce Brown very badly as well. So again, I do expect the Raptors. Would I be shocked if the Raptors didn't make any moves? I actually would be. They have a lot of expiring contracts. And if there ever was a season to capitalize on expiring contracts for the Raptors, they have to do it now. There's no re-signing these guys. With respect to Chris Boucher, I love you. There's no re-signing him. There's no bringing back Bruce Brown unless the market's one second round pick. And then sure, you could talk about bringing Bruce back for 15 million, 10 million, and then maybe just keep him or see what the value is next season, or maybe you include him in a bigger deal. If you really want Brandon Ingram or someone like him in the future, that's where Bruce Brown's, new contract, again, if you were to re-sign him, would make sense. But again, doesn't make a ton of sense not to trade some of those players. But also some other news. Some very good news. Aaron Rose was reporting that Orlando Robinson will get a second 10-day with the Toronto Raptors. Now, this is great news for several reasons. And when I originally made that video of the Toronto Raptors signing Orlando Robinson to a 10-day contract, I labeled it as a hidden gem. And someone specifically said in the comment section, everyone's a hidden gem. I didn't say that about the previous 10-day contract. I strongly felt that about Orlando, and people are noticing why. His wingspan, his height, his strength, his ability to contest shots at the rim is so valuable for the Toronto Raptors. When was the last time the Raptors had a 6'11" guy who contested shots the way he did? Look, I'm not gonna say he's gonna be an all-star player. He definitely isn't. He has limitations to his game, and you see it offensively, specifically offensively, and that's why the Kings probably waived him, and that's why a lot of teams did not want to pick him up because he doesn't do a lot, offensively. But in terms of defense, the Raptors need defense. He'll be a good second backup point guard if you not point guard, excuse me, second backup center if you want to call him. a lot of teams, realistically, if we're being honest, he probably is a third string center, but he provides a lot of defense. The Raptors need defense. They need physical presence at the rim, and the Raptors will certainly get more opportunities to see that as well. But I'm really happy for Orlando Robinson. He deserves the best. And let's finish off this video one last good news before we head into our trivia question. Sorry, I lied. There was a couple more things we wanted to talk about. So there's two more things. NBA Central was reporting that the Los Angeles Lakers are not expected to show interest in centers such as Nikola Vucevic and Jakob Poeltl. Again, according to Mark Stein, league sources stressed over the weekend that the Lakers are not expected to join the hunt for either Vucevic or Toronto Raptors' Jakob Poeltl, while often suggested Lakers target Walker Kessler of the Utah Jazz is believed to be as close as unavailable as it gets, with less than 10 days to go before the trade deadline on February 6th at 3 p.m. Eastern. Now, this is not surprising. The Lakers always play hardball. They try negotiating with the Raptors, and that's why those rumors came out about, obviously the negotiations for both sides and going anywhere. That's why the Raptors, Michael Grange came out and said they're unlikely to trade. They're unlikely to trade Jakob Poeltl, and then rumors came out that Lakers have talked to the Raptors about Jakob Poeltl. They don't want to give it up, and same thing with Nikola Vucevic. Warriors are being cheap as well. They do not want to give up a first-round pick for Nikola Vucevic, and I sense that's what the market is right now. No team is really willing to give up a first-round pick, and I'm not really surprised. But in terms of the Lakers, hey, Anthony Davis wants to play the four. You want to keep playing him at the five, you can do so. The Raptors aren't going to trade Jakob unless they get at least a good first round pick in return. So that again, we'll see what happens. I don't think the Raptors will end up trading Jakob just because I don't see the market being there. A lot of teams do not want to give up their first, and I just don't see it happening, guys. But again, now we get to our last good news before we end the video off here. And that was shout out to Raptors update on Instagram. That Grady Dick has been named to the NBA Rising Stars game. It's always cool to see Raptors players featured in any sort of all-star events. Grady Dick has definitely had a good start to the season. Hasn't seen a lot of playing time lately. Has had a little bit, not a little bit, quite a bit of defensive relapse. He's not a good defensive flair, but I really do hope he gets a lot of minutes and, of course, a lot of Raptors players being healthy as well. He's not getting as many shots as well. But obviously, the Raptors want to showcase some of the guys like Chris Boucher, Bruce Brown, Kelly Olynyk before their trade deadline. Once those guys or a few of those guys are shipped off, then Greedy, I'm sure, will start to get more minutes as well. But what are your thoughts on all of these? I know it was a ton to cover. It's quite a long video as well. I'm still got that raspy voice. I'm sure you could hear it. And it's almost broken a few times while talking during this long video. But again, what are your thoughts on all of these trade rumors? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. And as always, I have a trivia question for you today. And the trivia question for today is, which of these teams did not make a trade on trade deadline last season? Was it A, the Warriors? Was it B, the Nets? Was it C, the Lakers? Or was it D, the Pistons? So whoever answers this trivia question correctly first in the comment section gets a shout out in my next video. So that will be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have yourselves a great day.